Hey guys, what is going on? It is Gear and here, and in today's video, that is right, we are going to be doing another Eden Zero episode review of Eden Zero episode 21. Sit back, relax, and I hope you enjoy this video. So this video, I will admit, it will be reviewing Eden Zero episode 21, and in this episode there's so many mystery, so many untold secrets, and so many questions that I want to ask, but we'll probably find out in the next upcoming episodes. But it's just really a mysterious episode. So let me start it from the beginning. What happened at the beginning? Well, at the beginning it gave a quick recap of what happened in the previous episode. So about how the crew were on this planet and how they arrived, and how about Shiki and Homura were taken to the mining because they caused disruption in the main city. So they had to mine 100,000 metals which came from little bug creatures. They had to mine 100,000 of those, and once they did that, well, that is when they can leave and actually go away. So that's when that's when their punishment has been done. So at the beginning of the episode, what happened was Homura and Shiki were, let's just say, confronting this bad guy who was, let's just say, torturing another person. And even though they did do the right thing by standing up for him, let's just say Homura got the brunt force of it because she was taken away to be tortured even more by the warden of the camp, and he was going to torture Homura. So just before that happened, the episode ended off with Shiki coming in out of nowhere with a badass face saying, "You mess with my friends, I don't care about anyone else. You will see the wrath of the Demon King if you touch her." What a man, what an absolute G and a half. It was a really good ending to that episode, and then it went straight into it as the episode resumed. So at the beginning it was Shiki versus a warden. It was an interesting battle. I will say it was a little bit one-sided because Shiki used his gravity ether gear and he just one-hit the guy and literally stuck his head in the roof and then freed Homura from the ropes. And apparently those ropes were stopping Homura from using her ether gear, so apparently Shiki wanted to try it on, and when he did, well, he was saying how cool it was that it was stopping his ether gear from coming out. So he was interested by it, and let's just say the warden guy, well, his head was stuck in the roof, so he couldn't do anything else. So then it went to Rebecca and Happy and Pino, who were being escorted to the camp by the man himself, Nino, who says anime will save the universe. So as they were walking towards like the entrance of the camp, Nino was just explaining to Rebecca that how he is sort of like an accomplice of the Kurenai person. So she is like the main overlord of the planet. She controls whatever happens, she knows what's going to happen, and she's literally got 24-hour surveillance on everything that happens on the planet because she's got this sort of satellite thing. So as Nino says that he is her accomplice, let's just say he doesn't really show it, like he's not like one of her minions that would report her or capture her or anything like that. He just is one that needs to find out information about the ship's Eden Zero because Kurenai wants to find out what it is and how she can, let's just say, make more money off it. So that's her main objective, and she wants to find it straight away before Drakon. So let's just say, even though he did tell her that he is her accomplice, he didn't really act like it, and he was a nice guy because at the beginning he was saying that I was going to take you in for questioning, but after I saw your little dance routine that you did with Lavilia in the previous episode, well, my heart was taken away, so I could not capture you, so I'm going to do you this favor and hopefully it should be okay. So he was a nice guy, and he was, let's just say, one of my favorite characters so far in Eden Zero, and one of my favorite, I wouldn't say he's a villain, but I would say he's one of my favorites so far in Eden Zero. So as he dropped off Rebecca, Pino and Happy to the entrance, they walked through the entrance, but it looks like somebody was surveilling them through a robot owl. So apparently this robot owl was recording them as they were coming in, and it was showing them a way towards a very peculiar sort of person. So apparently this person was, let's just say, when the robot finally reached its destination, this guy was on his head meditating upside down. And let's just say Rebecca came in and said, well, no, this is how you're supposed to meditate, and she just meditated in front of him, and then he started to move around on his head. Yes, that's right, he moved around whilst he was upside down, and as he did that, let's just say he took Rebecca's little B cube off her neck, and he sort of like stole it whilst she was just trying to teach him, so she didn't even notice it was gone until she saw it in his hands. And then he started to explain about what it is, and let's just say you can tell what type of person he is, because straight away after that he uses his technique to swipe something, and let's just say he swiped something. No, I'm not going to say what it was, but you're going to have to watch the episode to find out what it was. So he swiped something, let's just say, that was not supposed to be swiping, and he just took it off Rebecca. Well, he just, let's just say, he unknowingly took it off her. Well, he knowingly took it off her, but let's just say it was something that was not supposed to be taken off, and it's a piece of clothing, so that's all I'm going to say. So as he was, let's just say, took that, Happy and Pino did something very funny where they called him, let's just say, a hentai, because he just wants to, let's just say, do that sort of stuff. So they were just like making fun of him, and let's just say he was being half serious where he knew about, well, he just explained that he knew about Homura and Valkyrie, and he knows the situation because he is Valkyrie's disciple, and he had a B-cuber from, well, the same B-cuber that Rebecca had on her neck. He had a similar one that came from Valkyrie, and he was going to give that to Homura, which was a little bit mysterious again, but let's just say it's getting more interesting as the episode goes on. So then the crew, well, Rebecca is, let's just say, she is a little bit confused about that, and she just wants to find Shiki and Homura so that she can give the little B-cube to her and just take him out of the camp. So then it went back to Shiki and Homura, who were still at like the warehouse where they fought the warden, and then they start to talk about how they need to find Valkyrie. Then for some reason it looks like the attack that Shiki didn't actually hurt the warden, because he just came out of it completely normal, and he just said that I remember Valkyrie, but I'm not going to tell you anything. And then he used the same satellite that transported Shiki and Rebecca, and he transported them to somewhere else. Even though, let's just say, he did say he wanted to kill them themselves, he transported them to a place where there was this beast that nobody could defeat, and most likely that would kill them, so that's what he thought. So that's why he transferred them over to that place using the satellite teleportation stuff. So then Shiki and Homura were in this cave where they saw this giant monster. It wasn't a bug, so thankfully Shiki didn't pass out, and they started to fight it. But as they started to use their ether gear to try and hurt the monster so that they could most likely bring their counter to zero, because they thought this is such a big monster, most likely by defeating this monster our counter will go from 100,000 to 0. So that's what they decided to do. So they decided to defeat the monster so that they could get their counter to 0. So they fought it, but let's just say the armor of this monster was so hard that Homura's blade broke when it tried to attack it, and let's just say Shiki had a little bit of a damage on his arm because he, let's just say, tried to punch it, and that didn't go so well because of his very powerful armor. So it was a interesting fight that was going to go on because they don't know how to destroy this invincible monster. Just as they were trying to figure out how they were going to defeat it, the monster spewed out some little bugs or little flies that were coming out of it, and let's just say, since Shiki is really scared of bugs, he fainted yet again, and Homura tried to think how she could carry him and defeat all those bugs at the same time, because let's just say she was backed into a corner. But just as she was backed into a corner, let's just say some guns came out of nowhere, and who was it? Well, it was none other than Rebecca, saving Homura and Shiki from the flies, and she shot them all with her ether guns, which were happy. So she destroyed all of the bugs, and let's just say the Homura is now relieved to see that Rebecca has found him. So as Homura is explaining to Rebecca that she needs to defeat this monster so that her counter goes to 0, they start to fight the monster, and let's just say, so remember Homura's blade was actually destroyed by the monster, so Rebecca notices this and she tells her that you won't be able to damage it with that blade. So then Pino analyzes the monster and says that it is an unknown organism. However, the weak spot would be at its back, because the back of it, it looks like that is where all the ether energy is being gathered up, and if they hit that area, most likely the rest of the body will shatter with it because they'll be like destroying the energy core. So then they decide to hatch a plan where Rebecca would bounce off Homura's broken blade and she would just jump up and hit the monster, well, shoot the monster from the back. So then that's what they decided to do. So Homura pushed Rebecca up using her blade, and sadly that wasn't actually enough because she was about to collide into the monster itself. So then Shiki, finally, he woke up and he gave Rebecca that little push so that she could actually go to the top of the monster and destroy it from the back. So then as Rebecca reached the top, she just started to shoot her shots to the monster's back, and as she did, she weakened it so much that Shiki delivered a blow, and then Homura delivered the final blow, which destroyed the monster, and that was the end of that battle. However, it wasn't the full end, because apparently the counter went down to 0, but then it reset. So it looks like the other guy, so the Valkyrie disciple, he said that that's what happens in this camp. You are never allowed to leave, and even if your counter does reach 0, it will be impossible for you to leave because it'll just reset. So then they realize they are trapped. However, the guy, using his swiping abilities from before, he swiped the next, so the machine next, so the one that will keep the counters, he swiped them off and he sort of freed them from that. So that was very nice to see. And then the episode ends off with something interesting. So firstly, the little B cube that was mentioned before that was given to the disciple by Valkyrie, he passed it off to Homura, and it was sort of like a mysterious ending because we don't know what that is all about and why Valkyrie didn't meet Homura in person. So that was very weird. And then it goes to Lady Kurenai, who still has the guy from the previous episode that was, let's just say, he was trying to do an interview but he got his face burnt instead. So she still got him, and he is wearing an iron mask, so that's a little interesting. And then it looks like she mentioned Valkyrie about how it is time to do something, and then the scene pans out to the satellite, and it looks like the satellite is actually linked to the main Kurenai herself, because the eyeball on the satellite is literally the Lady Kurenai's eye. So that is how she knows what is going to happen, and she knows everything that happens on the planet. A very interesting way to end the episode, and a little bit of a mysterious episode. But you guys, let me know down below, what was your favorite moment in Eden Zero episode 21? Because I would like to hear what was your favorite moment, and let me know down below how I can make these review videos better in your eyes anyway. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, like I said, drop a like and subscribe to the channel so you can join the awesome community that we have on this channel. Thank you guys for watching this video, take care and peace.